Hello guys, today I'm going to show you how to make this absolutely adorable panda using Tunisian Knit Stitch. So we're going to knit without knitting. We get both both worlds. You get a knit pattern or a swatch or whatever you want to do with it without actually knitting, that being the painful knitting situation. And we're going to start by chaining 13. Our very first row is going to be a solid color, so we don't have to worry about any color change right now. Of course, I mean, we're going to be making a panda. You just need two colors, but we're going to work onto the back of these chains. So this is our right side of the chains, and we're going to work onto the back side. However, if you turn it ever so slightly on the side, you actually see the bumps that we're going to work on. So like these little bumps, like that little bump and that little bump, all those bumps, we're going to work onto those, making sure, or actually remembering, that this chain that we have on our hook counts as one. So we're not going to work onto that bump right here, but we're going to work onto the second bump, and we're going to insert our hook, yarn over, and pull. Again, these are our bumps, and we're going to continue and pulling our chains or our stitches into those bumps. Always double, triple count your stitches. It's better to be safe than sorry. I know I've done it before where I'm like, yes, I know I counted them, and no, I didn't, and now I'm missing like a stitch, and your work, I mean, you can go around it, but like, it's not perfect, so I have to do it again, and my perfectionism will not allow me to continue with that missing stitch. So our Tunisian knit stitch consists of going forwards and then going backwards without actually turning your work, so you're always going to be working onto the right side of your work. We're going to chain one onto the very last stitch, yarning over and pulling through two of our stitches, and doing it again and again and again all the way down our row. And here comes our second row, and we're going to work onto that previous row. And if you flatten out your stitches, you'll see that there is like this upside down U created, and we're going to insert our hook right through that stitch, pulling our yarn and keeping it in our hook. Only for 2 stitches, and then we get to introduce our black. And again, if you flatten it out, you insert your hook through your stitch, yarning over and pulling it to keep it in our hook. And then we switch our colors, and always making sure that that back yarn, or that yarn that we're going to be carrying it over, is nice and loose, because we don't want our work to be warped or like having that weird tension. We don't want any of that. And we continue with 2 more black stitches, and the rest are white. And always chaining one onto the very last stitch, yarning over and pulling through 2 and pulling through 2. This is where we do our color change. So whenever we have 2 different color stitches in our hook, we always use that second color stitch. So we grab our black and we go through 2 of our stitches until, of course, there's a second color change. we grab our color change and we do it again and again. And let's go ahead and do one more row with you guys. It's not actually a tutorial, but it's just a little startup for you to create your own little knitting pattern or swatches without actually knitting. Of course, again, chaining one onto the last stitch and always making sure to do our color change when appropriate. I know it's a little bit hard to see on screen, but if you're following along, you'll see like that actually the iconic, be created with a knitting pattern. You see it created here without actually knitting. I cannot emphasize it enough. And of course, down below in the description, I'll leave the link for the Pinterest pattern that I'm following, or you can always, pause this video and take a screenshot of the knitting chart on screen.